Hello my dear student, we had seen in last lecture motion along a straight line. If a particle moves only one direction, then distance and displacement are equal. If particles moves both direction, that is positive and negative, then distance and displacement are not equal. And condition of acceleration. If acceleration is positive, it means that velocity of an object increases, so distance is also increases. So acceleration is positive. It means that magnitude of displacement are equal to distance traveled by an object. And second, acceleration is negative, means velocity decreases, then displacement is also decreases, so magnitude of displacement are not be equal to distance. Now we will see types of 1D motion. First is uniform motion. What is uniform motion? An object covers equal distances in equal interval of time. It is said to be uniform motion. If an object covers equal distances in equal intervals of time, it is said to be in uniform motion. It means that an object covers equal distances. An object covers equal distances in equal interval of time. It is said to be uniform motion. It means that we consider a straight line. 5 kilometer distance travel in 1 second, and next 5 kilometer travel in next 1 second, again 5 kilometer travels in 1 second, so on. It means this is the interval time and this is the distance. In first interval it cover 5 kilometer, and second interval it cover also 5 kilometer, and third interval it also cover 5 kilometer, and so on. This type of motion is called as uniform motion. In uniform motion, velocity is always constant. Velocity is constant. And acceleration is 0. In uniform motion, velocity is constant and acceleration is 0. Now we will see graph, distance time graph. This is y-axis and this is x-axis. X-axis represent time and y-axis represent distance. Then this graph is a straight line like this like. It means that every time same distance travel, every interval same distance travel. Suppose 1, 5 and 2 second also 10, this like graph, a straight line. Now velocity time graph. This is x-axis represent time and y-axis represent velocity. In uniform motion, velocity is always constant. So graph like this. It means that time increases but velocity constant. Suppose velocity is 5 km per second. Then time increases 1 second also 5 km, 2 second also 5 km, 10 second also 5 km. It means that velocity is always constant. Now acceleration time graph. X-axis represent time and y-axis represent acceleration. Here acceleration is constant, this like graph. Here all time acceleration is constant. This type of motion is known as uniform motion. Now we will see uniform accelerated motion. Uniform accelerated motion means acceleration is not equal to 0. Acceleration is not equal to 0. Acceleration is positive. Acceleration equal to positive. That is constant. In uniform accelerated motion, acceleration is positive and constant, not equal to 0. And velocity is equal to, and velocity is increases, This type of motion is called as uniform accelerated motion. In uniform accelerated motion, acceleration is positive and constant, and velocity is increases, and acceleration is never 0, and acceleration is not equal to 0. Acceleration is positive means 5 meter per second square, 10 meter per second square. Its value is always positive. This type of acceleration is known as uniform accelerated motion. Now we will see uniform retardated motion. Third point, uniform retardated motion. Uniform retardated motion. Uniform retardated motion. Uniform retardated motion means acceleration is not equal to 0. Acceleration is not equal to 0. Acceleration is negative. Retardated means negative. Acceleration is negative and constant. In uniform retardated motion, acceleration is negative and constant, and velocity is decreases, and velocity decreases, and velocity decreases and velocity decreases, and velocity is decreases and velocity is decreases. This type of motion is called as uniform retarded motion. Now, fourth point, non-uniform motion. Fourth point is non-uniform motion. Fourth point, non-uniform motion. An object cover unequal distances in equal intervals of time. It is said to be non-uniform motion. An object cover unequal distances in equal interval of time. It is said to be non-uniform motion. It means that this is the interval time and this is distance. First second interval it cover 5 km, and next first second interval it cover 3 km. Next interval 1 second 7 km. You can see interval time is same, but distance travel and equal distances. This type of motion is called as non-uniform motion. This type of motion is called as non-uniform motion. In non-uniform motion, an object cover unequal distances in equal interval of time. You can see this is the interval time 1 second. Each interval time is 1 second, but distance is different. So this type of motion is called as non-uniform motion. Example of a car moving on a crowded street. A car moving on a crowded street, a car moving on a crowded road. Second example, a person is jogging in a park. A person jogging in a park. This type of motion is called as non-uniform motion. In non-uniform motion, an equal distance travel in equal interval of time. This type of motion is called as non-uniform motion. Now we will see graph. डिस्टेंस टाइम ग्राफ. नॉन यूनिफॉर्म मोशन का डिस्टेंस टाइम ग्राफ देखेंगे. एक्स एक्सिस रिप्रेजेंट टाइम and y axis represent distance, and this graph is like this, non-linear in nature, not a straight line. This is a non-linear in motion, non-linear in nature. You can see from this point other value, and from this point other value. not increase in same ratio. So this type of motion is known as non-uniform motion. Suppose 1 second 3 kilometer distance travel and 2 second 4 kilometer distance travel means not a linear nature. This type of graph is called as non-uniform motion. स्पीड टाइम ग्राफ, नॉन यूनिफॉर्म मोशन का स्पीड टाइम ग्राफ देखते हैं. वाई एक्सिस रिप्रेजेंट स्पीड एंड एक्स एक्सिस रिप्रेजेंट टाइम एंड ग्राफ इज लाइक दिस T1 and T2. Non-linear in nature. Non-linear in nature. non-uniform motion में an object cover unequal distances in equal interval of time. non-uniform motion में ऑब्जेक्ट अनइक्वल डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल करता है इन इक्वल इंटरवल ऑफ टाइम. A car is moving on a crowded road. A person is jogging in a park, and its graph is in non-linear in nature. Fifth point is non-uniform accelerated motion. Non-uniform accelerated motion means acceleration is not constant. This type of motion is called as non-uniform accelerated motion. Non-uniform मतलब not same. Uniform means same या equal. Here acceleration is not constant. This type of motion is called as non-uniform accelerated motion. Now we will see speed and velocity. Next point is speed and velocity. First start speed. Here I am representing speed is from V. What is speed? Rate of change of distance is known as speed. Rate of change of distance is known as speed. Rate of change of distance is known as speed. Speed is equal to distance by time. Speed is equal to distance by time. Speed is equal to distance by time. Speed is a scalar quantity. Speed is a scalar quantity. Means only magnitude, no direction. Only magnitude. Speed represent V. What is speed? Rate of change of distance is known as speed. Speed is equal to distance by time. Speed is a scalar quantity. Speed have only magnitude, no direction. Unit of speed. Now unit of speed. We know that speed is equal to distance by time. Here distance unit is meter and time unit is second. So its unit is meter per second. So its unit is meter per second. Unit of speed is meter per second. Speed is equal to distance by time. Distance unit meter and time unit second. So its unit is meter per second. Now speed never equal to negative. Speed never in negative form. Speed is always in positive. Speed is equal to 0 means rest. The object at rest position, then speed is 0. Speed have a always positive value. Positive value means 5 kilometer per second, 7 kilometer per second, so on. Speed is never negative, like this, never equal to minus 5 kilometer per second, minus 1000 kilometer per hour, never minus 5 meter per second. Speed is never here, always speed is meter per second, here meter per second. Positive value, speed have always positive value, means 5 meter per second. Meter is the smallest unit and time is the smallest unit. 7 meter per second या 10 kilometer per hour. Dislike, magnitude always positive, never negative. Now average speed. Now I am going to define average speed. Average speed. Average speed. Average speed. Total distance traveled by the object by total time taken. Now average speed I am defining total distance traveled by the total time taken. Average speed is equal to total distance travel but at total time taken is known as average speed. Now again I am repeated about speed. A speed is represented by the v. What is a speed? A speed rate of change of distance is known as a speed. Rate of change of distance is known as a speed. A speed is equal to distance by time. A speed is a scalar quantity. It means only magnitude. Speed never equal to negative. Speed is never in negative. Minus 5 kilometer minus 5 meter per second minus 100 kilometer per hour. Never this like happen. Speed is 0 means at a rest position. Speed is positive. Speed is always in positive. Unit of speed is meter per second. Average speed is total distance traveled by total time taken. Is known as average speed. Now I am going to define velocity. Now I am define velocity. Velocity is represented like this. Velocity is rate of change of displacement. Rate of change of displacement is known as velocity. Velocity is equal to displacement by time. Displacement by time. Displacement by time is known as velocity. We can represent velocity like displacement also as vector quantity and time. This is called as velocity. Velocity is vector quantity. Velocity is vector quantity. Vector quantity means both magnitude and direction. Magnitude and direction. Velocity have magnitude and direction. Velocity equal to negative. Velocity may be negative. Velocity is equal to 0 means rest. When object is rest, then velocity is 0. Velocity is positive in nature. Positive. Velocity is positive, 0 and negative in nature. Velocity is vector quantity. Rate of change of displacement is known as velocity. Now unit of velocity. Unit of velocity. Unit of velocity. Displacement by time. Displacement का यूनिट होता है मीटर एंड टाइम का यूनिट होता है सेकेंड. सो इट्स यूनिट इज मीटर पर सेकेंड. नाउ एवरेज वेलोसिटी. एवरेज वेलोसिटी इज इक्वल टू डिस्प्लेसमेंट by total time taken. Average velocity is equal to displacement by total time taken. Velocity del s by del t means for a small interval of time, velocity del s by del t means for very small interval del t equal to 0. We can written like this. Now I am going to define acceleration. Acceleration is represented like this. Rate of change of velocity is known as acceleration. Rate of change of velocity is known as acceleration. Acceleration is equal to velocity by time. Acceleration is equal to velocity by time. Acceleration is equal to velocity by time. This is known as acceleration. Acceleration is vector quantity. Acceleration is vector quantity means both magnitude and direction. Its unit is velocity by time. वेलोसिटी का यूनिट होता है दिस मीटर पर सेकेंड, मीटर सेकेंड बाय टाइम इनटू सेकेंड. So its unit is meter per second square. Unit of acceleration is meter per second square. Acceleration is equal to negative, that is known as retardation. That is known as retardation. Acceleration is zero, means uniform motion. Acceleration is positive, means acceleration. When acceleration is negative, then it is called as retardation. When acceleration is zero, then uniform motion. When acceleration is positive, then it is called acceleration. Acceleration can be written as del v by del t for very small interval. For very small interval, we can written like this, del v by del t. That is known as acceleration. Now we will see lecture 4.